is Jeff, the host of the Gridiron.
All right, welcome to the Gridiron, baby. If you can give this video a thumbs up or maybe share this video, that would be absolutely freaking phenomenal. If you subscribe to my channel, thank you. If not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way, next time I go live or if I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. It's totally free of charge. What do you got to lose, right? But if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you. If you want to help support my channel out, description box below, very top link, takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. Each one has their own little perks to them. So once again, if you want to help support my channel out, it would mean so much to me. I thank you in advance. Once again, thank you. And then finally, just underneath that in the description box somewhere, there's another link. It takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. We have over 10,400 members in the group, and it is doing simply marvelous, might I add. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing and if I got internet access, I am putting stuff in this group darn near 365. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. Please join it. You will not be dissatisfied. I promise. Well, one thing you won't be dissatisfied by joining my group, but I'll tell you what, if you sort of, unbelievable. It's just absolutely unbelievable. I mean, I still have a hard time talking about it. I mean, it's like, that's one of the problems, like we're saying. There's, it's not like, we have we're really just injured. We got a good team, well coached. We just got a bunch of injuries, and that's just really, we've lost whatever, both our starting cornerbacks and our one-star safety, and our secondary is just depleted, and the other team's just picking us apart. We're scoring some points, we're doing this, but we just can't keep, or our 2 wide receivers and our left tackle are out for the whole year, so we can't score any points. We're keeping it close every game. We're competitive. We're trying. I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry. My bad. We're trying. We're keeping it close, and all. We're just losing every game. But just, man, it's always something. It's always something. It's amazing. Absolutely freaking amazing. And the problem is that, good coaches or good, coaching staffs and all that or whatever, figure out ways, when you have something going, like you don't have a kicker, well, they find ways to, come out with a W or, adapt. When things just start going bad, he has nothing. He has no answers. I mean, it's just like he's like just clueless in Seattle. Sleepless in Seattle was the movie. Well, it's Clueless. Actually, here I guess it's Clueless, and this time it was Clueless, and it just. Now, one of the things I'm going to go over in just a little bit. I mean, but you can blame everybody, really. I mean, almost everybody. But the defense was really gassed. The defense basically played half a game in one quarter, the final quarter. I mean, they were just tired. They were really just. We're going to go over that a little bit, but it's just unbelievable. I mean, it's just, and it's not like, well, we had, we once again, we lost another, we were up by 7 with 3 minutes to go, and we gave up a touchdown. They got a 2-point. No, it's just like monumental. It's just like, I saw a stat. I think I'm going to read it coming up. It's just teams, if I remember this correctly, we might have it in the article. Teams that were up by 18 points or more with 6 minutes to go in the game, 18 points or more. Won the last 1,602 games. So you're up by, it was 26-8, up by 18 points or more with 6 minutes to go in the game. No, that doesn't happen all the time. A lot of these games are really close. Hey, maybe a team might be up by 14 points, 16 points, right? Might be by 10 points. That's a two-score game. Allow a team to score. Yep, 33. And I was watching Big Blue Kickoff live today, and I don't know where they got that. There's stats for everything. But they said there's only been one other. I don't know how far back they're going. If this is all time, I'm not sure. Let me hold on here. Let me look at something here. Let's see. I just want to look at something real fast here. But I know they were looking one time, they had a stat. What was it? Oh, okay, all right. Okay. They had a stat. Now, I said, I don't know how far back it goes. It's actually 2037 where the team is up by 18. Oh, it's actually now, yeah. But they went back. And I said, I don't know how far. And I said, I just looked. I remembered there's a game in 1925. The Chicago Cardinals beat the Milwaukee Badgers. Now, I don't know if this is one of the games. I don't know if they're going back that far. I don't know. Or if it's just the Super Bowl year or if it's since the I don't know because he didn't mention it. But there's a game in 1925. The Chicago Cardinals scored 33 points in the final quarter against the Milwaukee Badgers. I don't know if that's one of the two other games they were talking about. I don't know. But they said that nobody has scored. Only one other time is more than 33 points been scored. I think it's in the fourth quarter of a game. One time, somebody scored 30. One team, they didn't mention who it was, scored 34 points. But the only reason why they scored 34 points was because apparently they scored 27 points. The other team tried an onside kick, and apparently that got scooped up and ran back for a touchdown. So, but there were apparently only two other teams. I don't know how long it goes back. It's running the ball, 12, 13, okay. Well, I'm going to be talking about that. Yeah, we've been talking about. Another one of those things. But there was only two other times that they said they were talking about that teams gave up 33 points. I guess it was the fourth quarter. Now I guess it's three. I guess now they had three. Now the Giants had three. Just unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Just the stats are just totally mind blowing. How we, it really, really, man, I'll tell you, 13-0. We had that nice goal line stand. Belton. Of course, now I don't know. I'll have to see how Holland is. Debo. So we got some injuries. Burnsy's got an ankle now. Right, we got a short week. Not a short week. We got that. I'm thinking the Thursday game. No, because we're playing the Eagles again. We don't have a short week, but playing the Eagles again. Dex was on the sideline of the last drive. Yeah, that's another one of those things too. I'm not even sure. They say Carter was on the sideline as well too. But yeah, Dex wasn't out there. I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to talk about a little something here, a little bit. They might have been gassed. Who knew? I don't know. All right, but 13-0 and a half, and then we 19-0 going into the final quarter. I'm like, oh, baby, man. And one of the things, because the Broncos were doing some chirping and stuff like that, I'm like, man, we're shoving it back in there. Man, this is great. Right? The one thing I didn't like, I ain't a coach. I'm never going to be a coach. I'm not smart enough to be a coach. I'm the first one to admit that. Okay. But the one thing I never like, okay, and once again, I'm not a coach, but I always thought like those 2-point conversion charts and all of that. I always thought, that was kind of like for like the end of the game. Not that Jude McAtamy would have made the extra point, right? But he misses one. So like the second time we go for 2, or he missed the one, and then it was to go up to it was what, 19. So we tried to get 2 points to make it 21, right? Went for the 2-point, didn't get it. Right? I would have tried to kick the extra point. Now, once again, I'm not saying he would have kicked the extra point. He could have missed that one too. Who knows? But I always like the 2-point convert. That's like the fourth quarter kind of thing. I mean, it's not like, because there's so many things that can happen in a game. Like, well, let's go up. We'll get 2 here. We'll go up 21, and this will happen, and that'll happen. You have no idea what's going to happen. As you saw in this game, you have no idea what's going to happen in this freaking game. So they went for 2. I get it, but it didn't come. Oh, where it just doesn't just. Tom left. I don't know. Will I marry? Owners love income. I mean, it just, and I mean, Burns, man, he was pissed. Man, if you see the what was it? There's a video of Burnsy coming into after the game is over, head toward the locker room. Man, he was fuming. Man, he was pissed off about just rushing 3 people and dropping 8 people in coverage. But I'm going to go over that in a little bit here. So I don't know. I mean, 19-0 heading into the fourth quarter, and then they scored. It's like, oh boy, here we go. But then we scored. It's like 26-8. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. We got this, baby. Oh my God. Yeah. Yep. Well, I'm going to talk about it. Yeah. I mean, he was open, but the guy that ran over Scatterbill, can't remember who the linebacker was, ran him over. Was down right, I guess his leg. He was trying to get loot, whatever. I mean, you can't tell me he couldn't see him. He's standing right in front of him. He just, I guess, didn't throw it high enough that I don't know if it was Robinson, whoever it was running across there. He was open, but that was one of those. That was certainly would have been one of those, the kind of like a risk, nice reward kind of thing. Because if he catches it, right, we got a first down, then maybe we can try to run the clock out. But instead of just running the ball there, or just taking a sack or something like that, keeping the clock running, where it probably wouldn't have ran, they would have called their third timeout. So then we would have punted the ball mile high, right, made him go the length of the field. Hopefully burned a couple minutes, right? And they would have had any timeouts. Then they probably would have had to go for it on an onside kick. And it's very difficult nowadays to recover an onside kick with the rules that they got. But if we could have recovered the onside kick, we basically almost could have ran the clock out. Just took a knee, would have been like maybe a 2-minute warning, could have ran I'll go over that in a little bit. But it was just like whatever could have gone wrong went wrong. It was just, I mean, I said some of this stuff. I just some of these numbers are just absolutely unbelievable. And of course it's us. It's the Giants. Yeah, sure. It's not like we have coached better game, brother. And like you said, we aren't coaches, but we are the basic. Yeah, I mean, see, the object is to win the game. Sometimes, I mean, there's a lot of, gambling that goes on. Well, if we do this and we complete the pass, we got a first down. All right. But what if, he was 15 out of 33. That's not even 50%. I'm not a rocket scientist, but that's, I don't know, is that 45%? It's not real good. He's not even completing half his passes, right? So, yeah, you play, as Herm Edwards said, you play to win the game, right? If you got a chance, right, to win the game, let's just win the game, right? I mean, sometimes you can outcoach yourself, outthink yourself, try to get too cute and stuff like that and all. Especially because they were burning their timeouts. And it's like, let's get them to burn their last timeout. That way there's only the 2-minute warning, and that's it. That's it. So if we can get the ball back, we can, use up 40 seconds 4 times, right? Or whatever, right? I mean, we can, yeah. Might be able to run the clock out, but. Here we go. NFL teams had won 1,602 consecutive games when they were leading by 18 points in the final 6 minutes of the game. As I said, once again, 1,602 consecutive games. Wow. I didn't say how far back that went. I don't know. But on Sunday, that streak was broken. Giants had a historic collapse against the Broncos, losing 33-32 in what was the wildest game in the NFL so far. With rookie quarterback Jaxson Dart under center, the Giants appeared to be turning their season around, taking a 19-0 lead into the fourth quarter against the Broncos and their stingy defense. Now, once again, same thing. It's like when the kicking debacle. Once again, if we had Graham Gano, if he wasn't injured, right, we need to find a kicker. Obviously, big time. But if Graham Gano wasn't injured, once again, quite possibly makes these extra points, and we wind up winning this football game. New York was stuck on 19 because of a missed extra point and a failed 2-point conversion. Both of them were factors in the roller coaster final frame. The Broncos' comeback began early in the fourth when a tip pass in the end zone fell into the hands of Troy Franklin for a touchdown. Now, you can't really get too whiny, moany about that because the Broncos were the recipients of a tip ball, so were we. They had a touchdown from a tip ball. We had a touchdown from a tip ball. So it is what it is. And of course, the Broncos got their 2-point conversion, made it 19-8. Not to be outdone, the Giants followed up with a trill touchdown of their own as Theo Johnson caught a deflected pass on 3rd and 17 and ran 41 yards on the ensuing possession. That bounced off of Wan'Dale Robinson, right? And luckily, Theo Johnson was there. Because if it wasn't there, it was 3rd down and 17. We're not scoring, quite possibly, we're not scoring a touchdown there. I don't know. 41-yard score. That would have been a 58-yard field goal, 59-yard field goal. I mean, McAtaney's got the leg. I don't know if he came to kick an extra point. I don't know if Dable is going to let him try to kick a 59-yard field goal. So we certainly got lucky there. Johnson scored spiked New York's winning probability. And this is just unbelievable. Unbelievable. Johnson's score spiked New York's win probability. On the Broncos' next drive, they faced 3rd and 12 from their own 47 with 7 minutes and 12 seconds to go. At that moment, the Giants' win probability was 99.8%, according to ESPN. Giants had a 99.8 winning possibility. It was 3rd and 12 for the Broncos at their own 47 with 7 minutes and 12 seconds to go. And we're up by, 18 points. But a 9-yard pass and a defensive pass interference penalty on the next 2 plays gave Denver new life. It was a 9-yard completion, and then was 4th and 3. Drew Phillips was one call for the pass interference. Quarterback Bo Nix would lead the team down the field for another score, running for a touchdown with 5 minutes and 13 seconds to go. Denver converted another 2-point conversion to make it 26-16. On the Giants' next drive, Dart made the back-breaking mistake. On 3rd and 5, he was picked off. Now, the thing was, we picked up 5 yards on 2 rushing plays, right? Once again, we could have ran the ball. I don't know if we would have picked up the first down, but we could have ran the ball. But 3rd and 5, he was picked off. Ran the ball back 21 yards to set up Denver's offense inside the red zone. I think Illuminor made the tackle, came over and made the tackle. 4 plays later, Knicks threw another touchdown pass to cut the lead to 26-23. New York couldn't answer the score, punting after only 3 plays and taking only 1 minute and 9 seconds off the clock in the process. 6 plays, 68 yards, and 51 seconds. They went 6 plays. They went 68 yards in 6 plays, 51 seconds. Broncos had their first lead of the game. Knicks completed a 31-yard pass on 3rd and 11 to keep the scoring drive alive. Then ran for a touchdown 3 plays later to put the Denver ahead. But the drama wasn't done, right? 1 minute and 8 seconds to go. The Giants were staring down a 4th and 19 at their own 26-yard line and the game on the line. You figured game's over. No, not so fast. Dart scrambled and found Wan'Dale Robinson for a first down with a roughing the passer penalty, giving New York another 15 yards. I have to. You see this here? All right, here we go. If it's going to play, it's taking me to X. No, it's just loading and loading. I love looking at it, but it doesn't look like it's going to work. All right, never mind. Okay. After a pass interference penalty moved the Giants all the way to the 1-yard line, Bo Collins, right? He caused the pass interference. Dart called his own number for his score. Unfortunately, what would have been best for the Giants there. Should have been 4 wins in a row. Yep. But what Dart got in, but actually what would have been beneficial was if Dart's knee would have been down just beforehand, clock would have kept running. Would have ran time off the clock, right? The object is to score. I mean, it's, if you don't want to, get down to the half-yard line. Well, let's see. Let me take a knee here at the half-yard line. We'll run some clock off, and we'll score somewhere along the object. If you can score a touchdown, you score a touchdown. But it really would have been beneficial to the Giants had, Dart's knee been down, and the ball would have been short because we would have ran some more clock off, right? And hopefully, we could have found our way into the end zone from like a half yard out or whatever, right? And that might have made the difference, but it was just, once again, of course, it was not meant to be. But of course, hey, Jude missed his second extra point of the game, which meant the Giants led by only 2 at 32-30, and up by 2. The thing I was thinking is that, of course, we're the New York Giants. We lose on 800-yard field goals as time expires. And where are we at? We're in Mile High Stadium. So basically, the Denver Broncos kicker could have stood out in the parking lot. They could have snapped the ball through the tunnel, put it down in the parking lot, and he could have kicked it over the stadium and through the goalpost from about 37,000 yards out because we're in Mile High Stadium, right? So I'm thinking in my brain, we got maybe a 68-yarder coming. I mean, it's just amazing. What is it? I forgot what it was. I forgot what after the Dallas game. I think 20% of all game-ending or game-tying field goals of over 60 yards in the last 10 years have happened against the Giants. 20%, 1 out of every 5 go against the Giants. So I'm thinking, we're Mile High Stadium, we're going to lose this game on a 60-something yard field goal, but that didn't happen. 37 seconds, though. I mean, once again, it's the same thing. Same thing with Dallas, right? They only got so much. I forgot how much time Dallas had. It was like, man, it was 18 seconds or something like that. The Cowboys, I mean, All right, we should be able to get this. Okay. 37 seconds can be an eternity now. That can be, but still with no outs, right? So if we could tackle and get them in bounds, the clock's running, that might, especially if they're going short, if they complete a 10-yard pass or something like that, you tackle them, maybe you lay on them for a second or two and you get up and the clock's still running, right? That way they maybe get a 10-yard pass, but they chew up 15 seconds off the clock or something like that, right? But the Broncos faced an uphill climb to get into position for another score. But their next drive started very fortunately for them, when Nick seemingly overthrew a receiver only for the ball to fall into the hands of an awaiting Marvin Mims for a 29-yard gain. As Denver lined up to spike the ball after the completion, a New York defender couldn't get onside in time, giving the Broncos 5 more yards. After the penalty, Knicks found Cortland Sutton for another 22 yards, putting Denver firmly in field goal range. And Broncos spiked the ball with 3 seconds left, bringing on Will Lutz for the 39-yard kick. And you knew that it was, The field goal easily sailed through the uprights, and Denver's shocking comeback was complete. Broncos 33 points in the fourth quarter were the most in the NFL history by a team that had been shut out during the first 3 quarters per ESPN. The most. 33. Denver went from having a 0.2, not 2%, 0.2% chance of winning to improving to 5-2 on the season, remaining in first place in the AFC West. The Giants, meanwhile, were robbed of winning 2 straight games for the first time this season. And instead of being 3-4 and potentially in the playoff hunt, were robbed of winning 2 straight games. I'm not sure what the hell I mean by that. We just won the last game. I don't know. And instead of being 3-4 and potentially in the playoff hunt, New York exited Sunday tied for second fewest wins in the NFC at 2-5. Now, the one thing, is that sometimes, Texans are I certainly don't want to be voting or whatever for. But the Broncos did kind of, they beat the Colts. But when the Colts missed their field goal, the flag comes out. I think it was some kind of leverage play or something like that. One of the Denver Broncos was jumped up and tried to get some or something along. Either he was jumping on the center or something, and the flag comes out. So Denver, once again, could have, should have won the game. They lost. Right, but they, on a flag, they gave I guess the Colts moved up another 5 yards, gave the kicker another chance, and of course he makes the field goal. So Daniel Jones benefited from that one. So it is what it is. But it's just unbelievable. A lot of people, where does this one rank? This is a tough one. There was a lot of bad ones. I heard a lot of people talking about, obviously, the Miracle in the Meadowlands 2, right? That was during the regular season. You got the Minnesota Viking playoff debacle in 97 when we lost that one. Of course, the 2002 when we lost to the 49ers. Colts versus Denver was fishy. A lot of fishy stuff this year. It seems, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it's scripted or not. I don't know. It's a lot of fishy stuff going on there. But it's what is this one? We're not a crappy team. We certainly deserve better. It would be nice if one of these days we get some good luck going our way. But obviously, yesterday certainly was not one of them. Right? Because the Giants are cursed with another kicker mishap, right? Now, the interesting thing is, I wonder what's going to happen, right? Because the Giants are going to get crucified if this happens, right? If because Graham Gano's soon he can be ready to possibly come off of IR, and the Giants could possibly, because Graham Gano's done a very good job as far as kicking. He doesn't do a very good job as far as staying healthy. Now, what are the Giants going to do here? Now, apparently, right, with Jude McAtamney and was it Young Ho Kim, or Kim Young, whatever. They've been having competitions, and apparently Jude been winning these competitions. So apparently they're putting their best kicker out there on the field, and so that's not good. Let's hope that they bring some kickers in, right, off the streets, and we bring about 30 or 40 of them in. And maybe we can have a little competition, and right, maybe somebody can. Even Lawrence Tynes was saying, he says, I love the international program and all of that, and it's a great program, guys, internationally and all of that. And you can put them on your practice squad without it counting as a practice squad roster spot, or but even Lawrence Tynes says that Jude McAtame, he's not an NFL kicker, and that's what we got in there. I mean, what are we going to do if Graham Gano comes back? Because the last time he started, when he walked out of the tunnel, all dressed, ready for the game, he was healthy. And then he did some kicking, and he pulled his groin. What's going to happen again? We're going to do the same thing again? Or we're going to have two kickers just in case Graham Gano gets injured again. I'm dying to see what's going to happen there. Right? Kicker curse strikes the Giants again. Personnel blunders cost win. Yeah, we go back here, right? Ahead of the Week 2 game against the Commanders, the Giants added kicker Graham Gano to the injury report with a groin issue, listing him as questionable. Despite that, they opted not to elevate a kicker from their practice squad. That decision proved costly as Gano left the game due to an injury after the opening kickoff. Giants, who carried a 52-man roster into the game, were kickerless. So the Scottish Hammer, Jamie Gillan, took over the kickoff duties, forcing backup quarterback Drew Lock to serve as the holder. The operation failed as Gillan missed a point-after attempt and forced the Giants to play 4-down ball, going for a 2-point conversion each time they scored. Washington won 21-18, and you don't need to be a mathematician to explain that outcome. It was an important lesson one might think that the Giants would have learned a year prior in 2023 when they trotted out an injured Gano who missed 2 field goals in the 13-10 overtime loss to the Jets. Once again, like every year, he's like injured. But these Giants, Brian Dable's Giants, don't seem to handle kicker personnel properly. It's a persistent oversight that cost them games, just as it did on Sunday against the Broncos, who scored 33 fourth-quarter points in a historic comeback victory. After placing Graham Gano on injury reserve earlier this year, the Giants signed veteran kicker Young Ho Koo to the practice squad, pairing him with Jude McAtame, who is on an international roster exemption. Instead of Koo, the Giants had elevated McAtame for 3 straight weeks. At first, that decision panned out as the Irish kicker connected on both of his PATs against the Saints in their Week 5 loss. Gillan was handling the kickoff duties, but he fared well enough to overlook the potential hazard that McAtame presented. In a Week 6 victory over the Eagles on Thursday night, the cracks began to show. McAtame missed a point-after attempt, but it went by the wayside, giving the stunning, hey, we won 34-17. Who cares if we missed an extra point, right? It's all good, baby. Woo! That would not be the case on Sunday in Denver, as McAtame missed 2 PATs, one wide left, the other wide right. So the one he missed, and then the other one he overcompensated for, forcing the Giants to attempt 2 2-point conversions, which both failed. That left a minimum of 4 points on the field in the game. They lost by 1. Unbelievable. There's Lawrence Tynes. He says this on X or Twitter. Hate being critical of kickers, and I love the international program, but McAtame is not an NFL kicker. And he, of course, he owned up though, right? He said, it's on me. I missed vital points at vital times today. I'm not going to shy away from that, McAtame said. The snap in the hole was good. It was my lack of execution on the kicks. I'm not going to shy away from my mistakes or letting the team down. Got to make the kicks. Not going to shy away from that. I'll take full responsibility. I'm a professional kicker, if you want to call it that. I got to be able to make those. That's true. Macadamia, as a professional kicker, does need to make those kicks. But there's a long-standing theme that has developed here and continues to cost the Giants potential victories. I mean, this stuff ever, if we keep Dable on, is this ever going to go away? This kind of stuff. Is it ever going to go away? Right? 3 different games over 3 different seasons, all lost in part because of the inability to properly handle kicker personnel. It's unexplainable. It's inexcusable, and it highlights the persistent mishandling of personnel that has plagued this team since General Manager Joe Shane and Dable have come onto the scene. I mean, once again, yeah. Hopefully, as I'm looking through like the Giants news for the week, Giants bring in 37 kickers and trying them out. Let's hope. Hopefully, because, I'm not sure. Let me see. Let me just, let's see here. Let me look. New York Giants salary cap. I think this might be Graham Gano's final season, but I'm not sure. I mean, where the heck is he here? Gotta find him. Hammer, Flat, Bellinger. Whoops. Just trying to see if this is his last season. Dart, Gillen. Where the hell is he? Oh, my bad. He's on injured reserve. That's why. They don't even. Gillen, hold on. Dart, Robinson, Banks, Van Roten, Nancy Ryan, Holland, Neal, Carter. Oh, let me see. Maybe. Oh wait, hold on. Let me go to over the cap here. Maybe they might have. Maybe they might have him here. Newman, Hyatt, Macadamia, because he's on. Let's see here. Practice squad injury reserve. There we go. Graham Gano. Okay, so let's click on him. He's on injured reserve. Okay. Oh, wait. Wait. Now, apparently we have him for 1 more year. He'll be 39 next year. His base salary will be $4.5 million next season. His cap number next season is $5.75 million. But if we let him go, it's a $1.25 million dead cap hit if we let him go. Now, it's going to be interesting to see what the Giants wind up doing. So Graham Gano is under contract for 1 more year. I don't know the DC. They gave up 33 to 4. She certainly shouldn't. He certainly shouldn't. So it's going to be interesting to see. Might be kind of the same way as it was like last year when we had the quarterbacks and like none of them were on the roster this year. Might be the same thing next year. Like we got these kickers here, none of them are on the roster next year. I mean, Macadamia. And then Graham Gano. So we do have him for 1 more year. So, but it's going to be interesting to see. Okay, because when healthy, Gano is a very reliable kicker, without question. But can he stay healthy? He was healthy going into a game, and then he injured himself, and so it'll be interesting to see. Hopefully, we either draft a kicker or get one in free agent or something or whatever. Because the only one nice thing about that I can think of, try to look at it half full if you want, is that we keep losing games, which helps our draft picks. I mean, that's not what we're looking for, but right now, of course, this one here, right? Some as we were talking before, I said sometimes you can outthink yourself or get too cute and all that stuff and everything like that. And as Herm Edwards one time said, some guy, Herm Edwards was, I think at the time, was the coach of the Jets. and the guy asked him some kind of question, and Herm, Herm don't curse or nothing like that. Herm's a real nice guy, classy guy. Yeah, of course he's the guy from Miracle of the Meadowlands 1. He's the one who scooped up the fumble from Joe Pisarcik trying to hand the ball off to Larry Zonka. They ran in for a touchdown for the Eagles, but Herm's a real knowledgeable, very classy kind of. And one time the reporter asked him some kind of stupid question, as usual. And Herm's like, "You play to win the game." Hello? But the thing is that sometimes you can just get a little too cute. Now, the one thing I want to talk, is that to talk about the defense like next. But you can just sometimes outthink yourself. You're up by 2 scores, not 1, but 2. Right? The other team is running out of timeouts. Right? All you got to do is keep the clock running. Right? Or one thing they also mentioned there too, right, was maybe like instead of standing in the pocket, okay, especially if they're blitzing, right, try to get where you get the rolling pocket where you're not standing in the pocket and they're blitzing, right, and you get some pressure on you, so roll them out, right? Maybe we can get a little more in the open, right? Or if there's a lot of just take a sack, just keep that clock running, right? Giants could have almost possibly ran the clock out here. Let me share the screen here. Share screen. Okay. Here we are. All right. I'm going to share this for a couple things here, but this one here. Right. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. All right. So the Giants said, got a 2-yard run, gave it to Cam, right? Got 2 yards. And I guess it went down to 5:07. Oh, I'm sorry. Then 5:07 went down to 5:02. And then the Broncos called their timeout. So we got 5 seconds off the clock. So we're down about 5 minutes to go, right? Broncos used their first timeout, though. Then we gave it to Cam once again. He got 3 yards. Now it was 2nd and 8, got a 3-yard run. So now brought it down to 3rd and 5. So the Broncos used their second timeout. Now there's 4 minutes and 56 seconds left to go. Okay. So now you got 3rd and 5, the Giants' 35-yard line. If the Giants, let's see here. Let me get this here. Okay, 4:47. Okay. So after the interception, right, there was about 4:47 left. But, 4:56, so say you run the ball again. Okay. You get down to about 4:50. Then the Broncos use their 3rd timeout. Whether you take a sack or whether they roll the pocket out and it's like there's nobody wide open, nobody within, there's not a defender within 35 yards of a guy. He's not wide open. Just take off and run, or take a knee, take a sack, or whatever, right? Or just run the ball. Keep the clock running. Do not run out of bounds, right? Keep the clock running. So if the 3rd down run, right, was not successful, say we get down to about 4 minutes and 50 seconds, but the Broncos use their 3rd timeout. Now they have no more timeouts. They only have the 2-minute warning left, right? So they took over, and once we boot the ball down the field, they have and we boot it and they run it back. So there's about 4 minutes and 40 seconds, somewhere around there left to go. Okay. But if we're at our own 35 and we got the hammer there and he's Mile High Stadium, I mean, one thing we do have is we do have very good punt coverage and kickoff coverage. We've had our special teams coverage and return are been very good. I'm not saying so much about our kickers, right? But our return teams and coverage teams have been very good this season, right? So chances are, the Broncos probably would have had the ball. I mean, I'm just saying, 30, maybe around the 25-yard line, even say their 30-yard line, okay? May not even been at their 30, but they would have had about 4 minutes and 40 seconds to go, but they would have had no timeouts. Now, if we could have had them take, just say, about 2 minutes off the clock, right? Go 70 yards, say they do it in 2 minutes, right? Keep them in, make the tackle, keep them in bounds, right? Keep the clock running, right? Let them, if they're going to score, let them score, but make them go 70 yards, make them go 7, 8 plays or whatever, or something like that, right? But keep the clock running. If we can get that down under about 3 minutes, right, then there's a good chance, a possibility that they would go for the onside kick, right? If they go for the onside kick, it's very difficult nowadays to recover an onside kick. Very difficult. Yep. Yeah. Banks needs to be on the practice squad of a high school team. That's what he needs to be. But it's very difficult to recover an onside kick nowadays, right? I'm just saying, suppose, right, they got the ball at about 4 minutes and 40 seconds. And once again, say it took them 2 minutes to score a touchdown, right? It's about 2 minutes and 40 seconds. We recover the onside kick, right? Now we got the ball around midfield, right? We run the ball one time. Now we run it down to the 2-minute warning, right? Now the clock's not going to stop again. So after second, we run again. Now it's after second down, right? Now it's going to be third down. We run another 40 seconds. Now it's down to 1:20. Okay. We run the ball again, right? We run another 40 seconds off. Now it's down to 40 seconds, right? Then now it's fourth down. Okay. We let the whole clock burn off, right? The whole 40 seconds, right? So now we're down about 40 seconds. Now we can punt the ball, right? Get them, punt it out of bounds, punt it into the end zone or whatever we want, right? And have them start at the 20-yard line. They might have maybe about 30 seconds left to go. They would have to go about 80 yards in about 30 seconds. Certainly not saying it's out of the question, all right? But they would have to score a touchdown, not a field goal, right? Touchdown, field goal. Oh, wait, no. Hold on. It was 26. No. They would have had to kick a field goal. Okay. But, right. So they wouldn't have a lot of time left. So there's almost a possibility we could almost ran the clock out on them. Right. Sometimes you just outthink yourself. We could have killed the clock and it would have our friend. Yeah. Yep. I mean, at that particular point in time, the friend's your ally. I mean, the clock's your ally. Right. Once we threw that interception, it became our worst. Became our enemy, without question. Let's see what we got here. Giants went aggressive with their play calls on offense, and it burned them. While defensive coordinator Shane Bowen is under fire for his passive approach to the final seconds, offensive coordinator Mike Kafka and Brian Dable might have gotten too aggressive at the end of the game. For starters, the Giants tried and failed to get a 2-point conversion when leading 19-0. Now, for me, I would have tried to kick the extra point. Once again, doesn't mean that he would have kicked the extra point, right? But I'm going for an extra point. I'm not going for a 2-point conversion. I'm trying to get a point. But let's see what we got here. Why go for 2? Are you guarding against giving up 3 touchdowns, which of course happened, and then some when the defense is pitching a third quarter shutout? I'm going to try to get an extra point. That's all I'm trying to do. That was on our chart, Dable said, and that's what we went with. Chart. That's what he said. The other controversial call resulted in Jaxson Dart's comeback fueling interception. Leading 26-16 and facing a 3rd down and 5 at the 35-yard line with 4:56 remaining, the Brain Trust called a pass instead of a run. That worst-case scenario likely would have led the Broncos calling their 3rd consecutive and final timeout before a field position-changing punt. I don't know if this is Mike Kafka trying to be cute. I don't know if this is Brian Dable trying to be aggressive. I don't know if this is Jaxson Dart just trying to be a hero. Giants legend Tiki Barber railed on the WFAN postgame show. This is on the play call, period. The only thing you do is force the Broncos to use 3 timeouts, keep the clock running, and punt the ball away. It's an inexcusable play call, and I don't understand it in any capacity. Former NFL head coach John Gruden agreed. You have to milk every single second, Gruden told Barstool Sports. When you lose a game like this, the coach is going to be at fault, but a lot of people are at fault. Dable defending putting the ball in the rookie's hands despite his frequent acknowledgement that his rookies makes mistakes by doubling down on his play caller and quarterback. Mike called a good play, Dable said. I thought it was an aggressive call to make a good play against the right coverage, what we anticipated to get. Now, once again, to be fair, the receiver was open. It was not a good pass. But Ed and Dable, they had some pressure. Jaxson kind of got tripped up, but I have a lot of confidence in him, and that's why we called it. Outside of quarterback, no position has given Dable and general manager Joe Schoen more headaches over the past 2 years than the kicker. What's the plan this week? Stick with McAtaney after 3 total missed PATs. Turn back to Graham Gano, who is eligible to come off injury reserve this week. Elevate Young-Ho Koo, who was cut by the Falcons and lost a competition to McAtaney in the judgment of special teams coordinator Michael Goriel. We'll see where this goes throughout the week, Dable says. Dable did not offer any injury updates Monday on Javon Holland, Paulson Adebo, and then, of course, Brian Burns, who left the locker room with a walking boot, but said it was a precaution. So we'll have to wait and see, because our defense, without question, could be down some of our key starters. And Burns, who I think now, I think leads the NFL in sacks. So we have basically between Adebo and Holland, we just spent $100 million for those 2 guys, and we ain't getting returns from those guys. I mean, where's this ball hawking ability from Adebo? I mean, So, sometimes, it does, when it works out, you're being aggressive and all of that, and it works out, you pat yourself on the back. But boy, I tell you, when you try to run every second off the clock, you can. Every second. Okay? And you have them call all their timeouts. Right? I mean, that might have been, obviously, hindsight's always 20/20. But you can see where there's a good possibility that, the Broncos might have had maybe 10, 20 seconds or so left to go in the game. They might have had the ball at their own 10-yard line, 15, maybe 20-yard line, and they would have had to go 40 yards or whatever, 40 or 50 yards to get in the field goal range, possibly, and only had 10 or 20 seconds left to do that. Not saying they couldn't have done that, because we are talking the Giants here, right? But that would have made things a little more difficult than the way it was. I mean, just you got to think of all these things. Even if you're up 3 scores and it's in the fourth quarter, obviously you don't want to go to the line of scrimmage, obviously, Jaxson Dart, and, just stand there and wait for the play clock to count down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and clap your hands. You know what? Because the defense sees that, okay, at 1, he's calling us out. At 1, we just take off. We don't wait for no snap, and we just take off, right? So you got to, you don't want it to have to go down to 1. But, I didn't look to see. But, when it's, when you get into the fourth quarter and you apply the dagger to their heart, right? But, don't call a play. Don't start the play at 10 seconds. You don't know what's going to come at the end of the game. Don't 10. I said maybe not 1. But let's get that under 5 seconds. Take another 4 or 5 seconds off the clock, right? If you do that for one drive, say it's 3 and out. Instead of saying hike, right? Clapping it, whatever, right? Snapping the ball at 10 seconds. Let's get down to 4. An extra 6 seconds first down, 6 seconds on second down, an extra 6 down. It's 18 extra seconds. The end of the game, take 18 seconds, and that's just on one drive. If you do that on 2 or 3, now you took half a minute off the clock. You take half a minute off the clock, right? Broncos don't get a chance to kick a field goal. You win the game, right? So but it is what it is. And now, so that, of course, that was the offensive side. Then you got to go to the defensive side. Now, to be fair here, okay, the defense looked very, very tired. They were just gassed. Now I'm going to show you here in a second. They basically played. I think if I saw in the final quarter, they played 35 snaps. Okay, and that's after playing the whole game. You get to the fourth quarter, right? And they're playing 35 snaps. That's basically half a game's worth of snaps in one quarter, right? And that's after they played 3 quarters. And you're in Mile High Stadium, okay? The oxygen's not free flowing up there. One thing they did say on Big Blue Kickoff Live though today, one thing they did say was Paul Dottino was talking about. He heard it from somebody. I can't remember who he said it was or whatever. But he said, when you're playing in Denver, he said one of the biggest things you can do, especially playing football or basketball too, right? Some kind of active or hockey or anything like that, is when you get a chance. Every time you come out, take a few hits of the oxygen. Get on the sideline and take some hits of oxygen. Get that oxygen in you any chance you get. He said, because once it gets to like later on in the game, he said there's a point in time when you're out there in Denver where if you don't get enough oxygen in you, there's a point of like no return. There's no like in the fourth quarter when you're like you're gassed, right? I'm just going to run on the sideline, sucking some oxygen, and I'll be good to go. Well, apparently, just from what I heard from Paul Dottino today on Big Blue Kickoff Live, I've been in Denver, but I just walked in Denver. I wasn't playing football, right? So what somebody told Paul Dottino, as I said, I don't remember who he said it was, but he said once you get to that point, like in Denver, and you get tired and you're all winded and all that, there's no second wind. Sometimes like if you're running, you get tired, but then all of a sudden you get your second wind and you're good to go again. There's like none of that. Once you get to that point in Denver, you're really gassed and all that. There's no coming. It's just all downhill. So one thing he was talking about is that maybe some of the defenders, every time they come out, he said there was like tanks of oxygen on the sideline. The guys were, they said, you should go over there any chance you get and just start getting some oxygen in there. Don't forget it. Don't neglect it. Get some oxygen in you, because if you hit that wall, there ain't no coming back. So let me show you. Let me go back here. All right. Let me show you. The amount of plays that the Giants. This is just. They played in the fourth quarter here. Okay, so let me click this here. Boom. Click this here. Okay, so here we go. All right, so we got the fourth quarter here. So the Broncos, my bad. 1, 2, 3. The Broncos had 5 drives in the fourth quarter. So once again, you start putting all the stuff in perspective. They had 5 drives in the fourth quarter. At that rate, right? They would have had 20 drives in a game. I don't know if that's ever happened, right? That's just 20 drives in a game at that rate, right? So now we're going to the fourth quarter. The defense is starting to get a little tired. So the defense has played very well up to this particular point in time. But the defense has played 3 quarters of football, right? And now we're going into the fourth quarter. Now let's see how many plays that the Broncos, right? Let's see how many plays the Broncos had the ball. Let's see how many plays the Giants defense was on the field for, right? So the fourth quarter, they had 8 plays, 8-play drive, went 78 yards. So that's 8 plays. Then they got another one. Look at this: touchdown, field goal. They had 5 drives. Every one they scored. They went 5 for 5 in the fourth quarter. But the one thing was, obviously, is every time they go back on the field, the Giants defense is getting more and more and more tired, right? And they were just totally gassed by the end, just totally, right? So the first drive they had in the fourth quarter, they went 8 plays, 8, right? Next time, the Giants defense held them tough, and they went 13 plays. So that's 21 plays, okay? Then after the interception, that 4-play drive, right? So now we're at 25 plays. Then the touchdown, right? 6-play drive. Then 51 seconds. Now, once again, the Giants defense was totally gassed at this point in time, right? So after this drive, they play 31 snaps in the fourth quarter. 31. At that rate, just at that rate alone, 31, there have been 124 offensive snaps, which is like would never happen. That's just too many. That would never happen. 124 snaps. I don't know if that's ever happened in an NFL game. An offensive team ran 124 plays in a game, but it gets worse. So that's 31. Then the Giants scored a touchdown, and then they got the ball, and when time ran out, right, they went another 56 yards and 37. I mean, look, right here. 6 plays and 68 yards, just 51 seconds with no timeouts. They had no timeouts. Then they went 4 plays, 56 yards. So they went, what is that, 124 yards. In 10 plays, they went 124 yards in 2 drives, right? But this is 31 snaps. Then the final drive was 4 plays. The Giants defense was on the field for 35 snaps in the fourth quarter. At that rate, that's 140 snaps for a whole game. That you get 140 snaps between 2 teams, not one team. 30, and so the Giants in Denver, where there's like the oxygen is not free flowing. Okay, Giants defense played very well for 3 quarters, and they played 35 snaps in the final quarter, and they were just totally shot. Now, also to be fair, a lot of people calling for Bowen's head, right? But once again, on Big Blue Kickoff Live today, John Schmelk was talking, and what he said on like that one play that we rushed 3 guys, Dexter, and why Dex he was not on the field? He might have been just too tired. Might have been. Carter may not even been on the field either. He might have been a little gassed. We're not sure. But the Giants rushed 3 guys. They had 8 guys in coverage, right? On the one particular play, I think it was the first completion, John Schmelk said they had 7 guys in for pass protection. They had obviously the quarterback and 7 guys. So they only had 3 guys out in the pass pattern. 3 guys. So you can, why are we not sending more guys and stuff like that? Well, I mean, they had apparently 7 guys in to protect the quarterback. They sent 3 guys out. We had 8 guys in the secondary to cover 3. We could have literally almost triple teamed all 3 receivers. We had 8 guys to cover 3. I mean, shouldn't that be advantage Giants, right? We shouldn't have got, right? Was that a bad play call? Right? We had 8 guys to cover 3 players. Is that a bad play call? Yeah. And John Schmelk was rather adamant. Right? He said they weren't a prevent defense. A lot of it was like man-to-man. It wasn't a prevent defense. Right? It's just that the guys were relatively gassed. And, let's see here. Let's see the field goal here. The kickoff. So they had 33 seconds to go. Bo next to Mims. Andrew Phillips was not. He was tired. He was tired. Right. Then a 30-yard pass. Right. Then we had a 5-yard penalty on Burns, neutral zone infraction, which put the ball. Now it's past midfield, so that 5-yard penalty on Burns. Then the Giants called a timeout to try to, right, that was their timeout number 3 they called. So with 18 seconds to go, right? And a 22-yard pass, Bo next deep left to Cortland Sutton with, of course, Banks, who didn't have some bad coverage. Wasn't bad coverage, right? But So they got to 22 yards, and of course, then they got down to the 21-yard line. And of course, they had enough time to go up there and spike the ball, right? And of course, then the field goal was good. But to be fair, it wasn't necessarily such a horrible, play call because on the first, I think it was the first play, right? The Giants had 8 guys in coverage to cover 3 wide receivers. And if you can't cover 3 wide receiver, now to be fair, we had a lot of our guys, Debo wasn't in there. We had Banks in there. The guys were tired. Holland wasn't in there, so. So it went as badly as that sounds. The Giants are 2-5 after being so close to surging to 3-4, but it won't cost defensive coordinator Shane Bowen his job. Brian Daboll said, "No, I'm not considering that, letting Bowen go." Monday when asked if he was making any changes to the coaching staff or play calling responsibilities. "We all have to do a better job. It starts with me." Daboll is correct in falling on the sword and in repeating on the loop that blowing a 19 fourth quarter point lead and allowing 33 fourth quarter points to the Broncos doesn't boil down to one play. But the play and the call made by Bowen that drew the most ire from players and fans alike was the decision to only send Roy Robertson-Harris, Brian Burns, and Kayvon at quarterback Bo Nix and drop 8 in coverage with 33 seconds remaining. The Pro Bowler Lawrence and first-round pick Carter watched from the sidelines. So once again, they could have been gassed. Right? Linebacker Bobby Okereke sunk off into an intermediate zone to protect against a check down completion and yards after the catch because big money free agent signings Javon Holland and Paulson Adebo both were sidelined by knee injuries. The 7 defensive backs included Jones, who was playing his second defensive snap of the season, and Braid was playing his first defensive snap of the season. So, not to mention Deontay Banks, a previously benched former first-round pick whose quarterback's target as soon as he steps on the field. Linebacker Bobby, what we got here? Yeah, so I mean, Marvin Mims scored a 29-yard pass with Drew Phillips draped on his back and 5 Giants encircling the ball, but it didn't. Leave that to the coaches, Lawrence said Sunday after a long pause to gather thoughts when asked about not being more aggressive at the end of the game. A livid Brian Burns screamed up the tunnel after the loss after choosing to drop 8 in coverage. That emotion turned somber as Burns shed tears at his locker. So the Giants losing faith in Bowen with the benefit of a 20-hour cooldown period. It sounds that way. We're all hands on deck, Bobby Okereke said. We all bought in. Everyone has to look at the man in the mirror. Daboll had plenty of time to dictate his preference for an aggressive and passive philosophy to Bowen before the Mims catch because it followed Jaxson Dart's go-ahead touchdown run, a replay review, a missed PAT, and a kickoff return. It was reminiscent of when the Giants were in a similar final second spot and deployed a similar light pass rush in Week 2 against the Cowboys, surrendering field position with a tying field goal and then the overtime victory. Not the same play call, as Daboll pointed out in defense of Bowen, but the same passive approach that Bowen regretted then. I wish we would have been a little bit tighter in coverage, Bowen said on September 18th. Just like all these calls that don't work, you second guess that you probably wish you went in a different direction. After one spike, Nix went at Banks for a 22-yard catch by Cortland Sutton that turned into a would-be 61-yard field goal into a walk-off chip shot. The Giants sent 4 rushers on that play, but it was too little, too late at that point. I'm out there making plays that come to me, Banks said. I got picked on the second play. That was a great play by Sutton. Other than that, I feel like I was okay. We got put in a position where we could have won, but we gave it back to them. I put that all on us. We have to play better, Burns said. Daves is going to take the blame, his fault, and this and that. Nah. Burns and Lawrence both credited Bowen for calling a great game last week against the Eagles after saying they urged him to be more aggressive. You can bet John Mara feels the same way. Yep. It was Mara who first turned up the pressure on Bowen after last season when he said he was tired of watching teams go up and down the field on us. I mean, I can't possibly see how Bowen can't possibly. Dable, who was turned away by several candidates before hiring Bowen in 2024 coordinator search, opted to maintain the status quo. He fired 2 coordinators and 4 position coaches in his first 3 years. There are plenty of plays that we had opportunities to make throughout the fourth quarter, Dable said. We just came up short. So, I mean, it's just brutal. Yeah, you can say one thing or the other, but they apparently kept 7 guys in to protect, right? And they only had a few guys out there in coverage. I mean, receivers out there. If you got 8 guys to cover 3 and you give up a reception, I mean, that's not on the play call. I mean, if they rush 6 guys, if they have 7 guys in there to protect, so now you only got 5 guys in the secondary to cover 3. Now your odds are even, But the one thing is that if you do wind up sending, like you send like 6 guys, that should hurry up his throw. It should not give him a chance to launch the ball down the field. Okay, but it just, I don't know. The one thing is, the biggest thing is that from what I'm seeing is that the guys are just really, really freaking tired. Yeah, we had guys who were injured. We had guys in there for the first couple snaps, and of course, we got Banks out there who stinks. He's not. He's got it. I mean, we got him for 4 years. Okay, so we got him for, we're not picking up his 5th-year option. We got him for 1 more year. He'll be a backup or whatever. But we do need another. We need to get another cornerback next season. Now, hopefully we re-sign Flott. I hope so. We got a Debo. Hopefully a Debo starts playing good football. Who knows about that? We'll have to wait and see how badly he's injured. But we need another cornerback. That's for darn sure, right? Because Banks is not even a good backup. I mean, he's just straight trash. Straight trash. I don't know what Wink Martindale saw in the guy, why he was so excited to actually have this guy, but he's just straight trash. And he's either getting burned in pass coverage or he's just not giving all-out efforts. And it's just, he's not bad. The kick return he hasn't been too bad at. But on the defensive side of the ball, he's just, let somebody else have him. But one good thing that did come out of the game, right? Back-to-back games where we scored 30 or more points. It was the first time since 2019 that we actually had back-to-back games where we scored 30 or more points. Not bad. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen. It'd be cool if it did. I hope it does, especially because we're playing the Eagles. But if by chance we were to go 3 games in a row, okay, at scoring 30 more points or more, 30 or more, that would go. You have to go back to 2014 till we accomplish that feat. Let me show you here. Let me get this out here. I got the Giants here. Share the screen. All right, here we go. All right, and share. Okay, here we go. Obviously, right? Okay, so we got. So it's pretty good. We played what, 1, 2. So we played 7 games. We've scored more than 30 points 3 times, right? So what are we up to here? What's our average? What's our points? Points for 21.9, almost 22 points per game. That's with a rookie quarterback in there. Last year, but we're giving up 25 points per game. With this in defense, we're giving up 25 points a game. Oh my God. Unbelievable. Let's see. So we're scoring 22 points a game. Oh, there we go. Previous season. That's what I was looking at. So we scored 16 points a game. So as of right now, we've gone up 6 points per game. on offense. The problem is our defense is giving up one more point per game. We're giving up 20 with this defense. We just spent $100 million on defense. We got Abdul Carter in there, number 3 overall pick in the draft, and we're giving up more points this year than we were last year. I mean, it's unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. Okay, but let's see. Let's go back to 2019. And Daniel Jones' first year, right? Okay, so right back-to-back games here. The Redskins, the overtime game, right? Daniel Jones threw, I think, 5 touchdown passes in this game. And, of course, this was Eli's final game ever, right? We won 36-20. And then the Daniel Jones game. So you got to go back to 2019. It was the last time the Giants scored 30 or more points in back-to-back games. Now this year, to be fair, right, that we did score the Tampa Bay game, right? Because Daniel Jones came in as first two Daniel Jones games we won, right? We won 32-31 because the Buccaneers missed a field goal right at the end as the clock time expired. And then we played the Redskins at home and we won 24-3, right? So we were 2-2 at one point. We went from 2-2 to 2-11. All with Daniel Jones in there. But you got to go back to 2019. Right? It's 2019. We scored 36 points and then 41 points. You got to go back to 2019, the last time that we scored 30 or more points in back-to-back games. Now, you got to go back to 2014 if, right? This would be the last. I didn't look to see the last time if and when the Giants scored 30 or more points in 4 straight games. But if the Giants were to score 30 or more points this week against the Eagles, that would be 3 straight games of 30 or more points. Now, I'm not expecting that, but if we do, sign me up for it. Right? But this is 2014. This is the last time that we scored 30 or more in 3 straight games. Because right, you look right here, right? We scored actually this season we scored quite a few times. Scored 37 here against the Rams. Scored 36 against the Titans. But here, see, we scored 30. We scored 45. We scored 30. And our defense was just trash. Our defense was just horrible. 31 here, 25 here, 38, 40, 31, 27. We lost 27-0. I mean, our defense was just straight trash. 20, 35, 20. I mean, absolutely horrible. How many points a game did we give up here? You have 25 points a game. Yeah. Perry Fuel, was our defensive coordinator. But I'm actually McAdoo was the offensive coordinator calling the plays here, right? So you can see we scored some points, right? But so you got to go back to 2014. We beat the Texans 30-17. In Washington, we beat the Redskins 45-14, and then home against the Falcons, we won 30-20. Okay. So, but so back-to-back games. Now the thing is, the Eagles defense is not as good as it was last season, right? They lost some guys in free agency. I got a couple guys injured. One of the guys just retired like halfway through the season. He's like, I'm out of here. So their defense isn't as good as it was last season. I've seen Carter. I'm not sure if he came back this week or not. That I don't know. But when we played him, he wasn't in there. He'll be in there when we play him this Sunday, right? So that'll be a big boost for the Eagles' defense. But for us to score 30 points, 30 more points in back-to-back games with our rookie quarterback and no number 1 wide receiver, right? Everybody has stepped up pretty well, but he was only 15 out of 33, right? Yesterday. right? So he wasn't even 50%. It was a very tough game. But, what would it have been like if we had Malik Neighbors out there? Might have been a little bit different. We got Bo Collins out there running around, Jalen Hyatt, Wandell Robinson, Theo Johnson, Bellinger. I mean, these guys don't scare you. They don't scare you, all right? We don't have any weapons out there, okay? And Jaxson Dart, right, is, with the team against the defense that has the most sacks in the entire league, and they still do after this game here. Very, very good defense, outstanding defense. They were good red zone defense, good on third down, good on fourth. I mean, really good defense. We scored 5 touchdowns and should have had 35 points, if we had a reliable kicker. But, it's back-to-back games with a rookie quarterback. As I said, just imagine if Malik Neighbors comes back, right? And hopefully somewhere along the line we can get another option on the other side other than Slayton or Hyatt or whatever, somebody else. That we need, we certainly need a cornerback without question. We need a cornerback. And we could use a wide receiver without question. Wherever we're drafting at, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure as of right now we're in the top 10 still, right? But you always want to take the best player available. But somewhere in the first round or two, I hope we take a wide receiver. We need somebody, especially maybe if you can get somebody maybe who's got some height, right? That may not be bad, but we need somebody else out there. I mean, you can just say. I mean, I said, just imagine if Malik Neighbors was out there, might be a little bit of a different ball game. Because with Malik out there, it changes the defense a little bit. They got to have somebody ride them. They got to have somebody over top that opens stuff up over here. Well, if you got somebody over here that they got to, pay attention to and maybe have a safety over top, and then you got a guy over here who can kind of do the same thing. Ooh, that really opens stuff up, right? As I said, we just don't have that right now. And somehow Jaxson Dart, our rookie quarterback, who once again making rookie mistakes, okay, by throwing that ball, right? Back to back, right? And just think too about with the Saint game, right? Now we didn't look phenomenal against the Chargers, right? But against the Saints, we scored 14 points. We kept walking up and down the field. I got to that point in time, we had like 5 drives in a row. We were walking down the field, and we'd either fumble it or throw an interception, right? But we were moving the ball, right? So, as much as it pisses you off and all that stuff and everything, just, think if we, once again, for the 8,000th time in the past couple of years, if we actually had a kicker, we could have scored 35 points, quite possibly, against the best defense in the NFL. So that's, it's not going to get you all warm and fuzzy right now, but it's something that, if we can get Malik Neighbors back next year, get him back healthy, right? If we can get another wide receiver, right? Okay. We got a couple good running backs. Tracy can take it, right? We got Cam Scatterboo, right? Tracy had another long run. If you give him a hole, he can take it, right? So we got some young guys. We just need a couple more pieces to the puzzle. But as bad as that game was, we scored over 30 points. We scored more points against that defense on the road without a number one wide receiver. We scored more points against that defense than any other team has so far this year. Okay. The lowly New York Giants. Not too bad. All right, guys, been 1 hour and 25 minutes. Whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you, thank you, thank you. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching the replay of this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants! Woo! Oh, yeah.
Bye.